Hey, what's going on, everybody? And thanks for joining us again. We're live, and today we've got an interesting episode for you. First topic of the day, a woman claims she's legally a dolphin and is demanding for the oceanfront parking spot, and she's taking it to lawsuit. Second topic of the day is how a man's Neuralink gets hacked, and he just can't stop shouting ads for Chipotle's new honey chicken. And finally, we're going to wrap up the episode with how Starbucks is testing a silent location where you either order by using the app or baristas will guess your order. So buckle up for a great future. That being said, co-hosting with me today is my good friend, Will Hubert. And on the keys, as always, Dougie Fresh. Let's get it going. So unfortunately, April Fools, none of those are real topics. And what we're really discussing today is how the New York Yankees have implemented performance-enhancing bats with this new torpedo bat. That's going to be the first topic we talk about. How the Hogan twins, a conjoined twin couple, are shaking up our understanding of personal identity and consciousness. And then also how FYRE 2. Oh, yeah. Billy McFarland is hitting the scene, and he's got revenge. You know, I really wanted to pull out and hope for the best for this cat, but at this point, oh my God. But we'll save that for the end. But anyway, the first topic of the day is how the New York, you know what, actually, before we get into the first topic, I do have updates. Not updates on a past topic, but just an update for the Rethink Tank. Something that gets me super excited. Something that we haven't talked about on the show, but we internally have exhausted quite a bit. And Doug, I tried getting him Cracker of the Week with Antonio Brown, but we had a pretty awesome moment with Antonio Brown even out here, you know, the king of Twitter, exclaiming to everybody, sometimes you just got to rethink.
You know, he sees everything. I feel like whatever
he's omnipresent on Twitter.
Oh yeah. He checks his docket every day. He has completely monetized that hashtag.
Oh yeah.
Like that is him.
And the funniest part is that here's a guy that flipped it all upside down. The tweet was acknowledging that the beginning of this show, its inception in 2018, it felt like I was reporting on this guy every week. Another lash out, now he's out of the league, and now he's still causing problems. And then to acknowledge, dude, now you're out here and you're the king of Twitter. It's been fun and people are revering you. Now you're going on a podcast tour, and we're going to get to it later. This all comes full circle. He's the only publicly signed talent to the FYRE 2 festival. So nobody really knows what he's doing, but he's going to be there.
You want to know what, too? Speaking of CTE span, your April Fool's thing, it got me. I was so looking forward to talking about the dolphin woman. I was chomping at the bit for that one all day. You sent out like both dockets to us earlier, and I was like, oh, we got a pretty loaded show today. Instant you said April Fool's, I was like, that's like the 5th time I've been got today.
No, so honestly, the whole thing is just a perfect scenario. So the dolphin thing, you truly want to believe it, because that's when we have children.
Real thing.
When children are demanding kitty litter boxes in schools, Like, you can't help but believe a dolphin somewhere is going to want a close access to the ocean.
I was like, you want to know what got me? It wanted ocean view parking. Why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't you? Exactly, dude.
I don't want a 2-walk block to the beach. I want to go right in the water. God, that got me. Oh my God. Speaking of CTE span, though, I did see. I think he retweeted a guy had a baseball jersey at like opening day for like one of the stadiums, and on the back of it just said CTE span. He gave him cracker of the day.
It is funny seeing the people winning it, and you're just like, oof, rough. The one I saw today, you're just like, ah.
I love it when people ask to be it. And he's like, sure.
Yeah, we were this close to getting Doug there. I so badly wanted to achieve it, but we just weren't able to.
You know, I'm sure we'll have another opportunity. Funny enough, knowing Antonio Brown.
Exactly. And so, again, keeping with the sports theme, I think it's a perfect way to get excited for the transition to our first topic. Baseball's back, baby. It was so exciting dipping out of work and getting to go watch the Indians play and like catching a game. Now, like, the beauty of baseball is there's almost a game every day for your team. There is literally baseball every day. Yeah. And so there's always something to look forward to. But, you know, it's America's historical pastime. Yep. And what makes it wonderful but also unique is it's kind of a window in time. They have evolved it in minor ways, like the pitch clock and putting a batter on second or a runner on second for extra innings to speed up the game.
They need to start doing that in the postseason.
What?
In the postseason, they don't do that.
Good. They shouldn't.
Yeah. It's just during regular season, which I guess kind of
I'm going to be honest with you. I'd prefer that. I think you should play it out to its totality when it's like a game that matters, when it's all on the line.
I'm fine with it not being in the postseason, but like during the regular season, I mean, I can understand. We don't want
that's what I mean. I get it, but I don't think it should be in the postseason. But again, there's been minor tweaks to a classical game that really has been pretty consistent. It hasn't changed much. And it is exciting. You know, what made the 90s and early 2000s so exciting? These dudes were roided.
Barry Bonds.
Barry Bonds' head still inflated.
No. Like Mark McGwire. Dude,
McGwire.
When I was putting together clips for today's episode, there's a commercial of a wiffle ball bat that I'm like, oh my God, my neighbor Connor.
Right, dude. Oh my God. I saw it on TikTok. It was like the Mark McGwire bat. And I was like, oh my God, I remember that commercial.
Thank you.
Like, it's funny you mentioned that. I was like, I just saw Mark McGwire.
Can we acknowledge Mark McGwire? Top dog, king,
73 home runs.
And then was just like, they're like, they brought him into Congress once. And he was like, I'm out, dude. I see. None of this matters. He left the public limelight. Totally. Did you know that guy's still alive?
Yeah.
He's still alive.
Yeah.
He just doesn't exist to anybody.
And I feel bad because a lot of those steroid guys, like for a while, they like, obviously none of them are in the Hall of Fame, which I'm going on record and saying is stupid.
So stupid.
But also, like, for
Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame, though. If they're going to bend the rules,
Who?
Pete Rose.
Pete Rose.
Yeah, Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame.
Yes.
And now, don't put him in. Don't put him in. I don't like. He passed away. Don't do it posthumously and be like, oh, well, we're now honoring. No. You ostracize him and these other steroid guys forever. You didn't see Barry Bonds and like, for instance, Mark McGwire. You still don't see him. You hardly see Sammy Sosa. You know, I mean, these are legends of the game. You hardly see them. And like they ostracize a lot of these guys because of the steroid things. Only in recent years, and Ken Griffey Jr. is a big, I think, reason you're seeing him a lot now because he's always talking about them. And like they bring him around a lot. And he'd be like, no, I'm always going to keep talking about him because Barry Bonds was the best hitter I've ever seen.
Oh, yeah, dude, it was a marvel. And that streak, dude, you would wake up every day turning on ESPN watching the countdown of him getting closer and closer to breaking the record. Mm-hmm. And there's people in the stands with giant, like 5-seat wide signs with syringes all over it. And it's like, because that's right when the criticism was coming. That's right when the attitude was turning. And honestly, I don't think there would be that persona being projected by the audience if it wasn't a rule violation by the league. If the league just kind of allowed it, at least maybe not just syringes and butts, but like a form of enhancement to where they could still achieve close to similar goals and maybe release itself from the stigma, be legal within the MLB. That would have, because again, it was so exciting. Baseball was so exciting. And then you got to admit, in this post-steroid era, there's been this lull for what reason? It's not a lull to us. No. It's a lull to the Dougs that come for the hot dogs, the chicks that are there to get their Instagram pictures, the kids that have no idea what's going on, but they're just there to get out.
Yeah.
That is the audience they're trying to appeal to. They don't need to appeal to us. We're there anyway.
Yeah.
So we haven't felt a lull because we're watching baseball no matter what. We have an appreciation. Guess what? A game that's one run, period. It was 0-0 the whole time, and it was a pitching snipe out to a big fan. That would be a huge game.
Yeah.
But to a mundane fan, we need a pitch clock. This shit takes forever, and nothing happened.
Yeah.
So bringing it full circle, it's very exciting when an evolution comes about naturally, one that releases itself from the stigma, and the MLB will allow it. We'll stand behind it and say this is kosher. Yes, keep it within the New York vibe. But New York comes out and just dominates against the Milwaukee Brewers. Dude.
Yeah, I know.
Sweeps them.
Yeah.
First game 4-2. Second game 20-9.
Yeah.
Third game 12-3. The Yankees were out here setting records.
First pitch back at Yankee Stadium, a fly ball hitting the left center. Back onto the warning track goes Mitchell, and
you want to know what's even better too is that pitcher, and I hate that pitcher. I hate Nestor Cortez. I cannot stand him. The Yankees just got rid of him in the offseason.
What do you not like about him?
He's a dude that will kind of like wiggle up there and then throw, and it wouldn't be considered a balk because he was already in his pitching motion. But like he would always do it, and like they'd be like, "Oh, he's so fancy doing that," and it's like,
no, he's cheating.
No, I don't think he's cheating. It's just like you want to get the hitter off his timing, but it was just like he's an all right pitcher, and like they'd be like, "Oh, he's such a beast for it." It's like, no, he's a beast because he's on the Yankees, and the Yankees are going to be able to mash him out of any bad situation he gets in. First 3 pitches of a game. That's actually the first time a team's ever done that.
No, so let's watch him.
Yeah.
Let's watch how the game plays out as the Yankees just dominate.
his first pitch back at Yankee Stadium, a fly ball hitting the left center.
It's just, that's one.
2 years removed from an MVP season, and now Bellinger.
That's 2. I love
Cody Bellinger,
3 pitches in a row.
And Judge just half swings and it's gone. Best hitter in baseball.
Oh, man.
Best hitter in baseball.
Fly ball left field.
Yeah, they broke the franchise record for most home runs in a game.
Yes.
9.
Franchise record tied the league record. And what's interesting is that their coach was on the team that tied the record.
Oh, Boone? Yeah. Boone was there.
Fly ball to deep left.
So obviously, a series like this, people are just like, something's up.
They're like, give us those bets.
What is the juice? It's I wish I had the clip, but remember Space Jam where it's like the juice.
Oh yeah,
or whatever it was.
The goo, yeah.
The goo.
I don't think it was that, Doug. Goop. Oh, who knows? Whatever. The slime, the liquid. What are they doing?
Flubber.
Oh, it's nothing too special.
For him and the pitching staff.
It's one more and then more.
To left. It's back.
Yeah, I mean, we could watch him hit home runs on them all day.
It's crazy.
But
it's
they
nothing
saw him do that for
special.
3 hours.
It's just their bat.
Yeah.
So now they've come to some MIT brilliant engineer has kept the bat within Rule 3.02, which says the bat cannot be more than 2.61 inches in diameter and 4.2 inches in length. And there's something about keeping the mass being centrally focused right along the label area.
Yep.
Gives it this extra density. It's still and the MLB has come out and affirmed that these are totally legal. And I need to go. Maybe can I?
It's a torpedo bat.
There we go.
Torpedo.
My head was right in the bat.
It's it's such a funny look for a bat, or something we're just not used to because it's so new. Like it literally looks like they're holding a mallet.
Yeah,
Almost more so than a
but
bat.
look at
it's
how
like
fat
cricket.
it is.
Yeah.
And what's funny is, like, speaking of interesting bat styles, the Mets have no knob on the bottom.
Yeah.
So, like, there's different variations, and even that looks like your eyes. It's like uncanny valley. You're like, something's not right here.
Yeah.
But this literally looks like backyard baseball, like a cartoon, not even real.
And it's funny to think it's like this game has been around for over 100 years, and all it took was one minor variation, and it could really assist a lot of certain hitters.
Yeah, yes, and that's what it is. I don't think we're living in a day and age where this is a steroid bat, and it just made super batters out of moderates. I think it enhances particular swing styles.
Yes.
Like, you and your dad, who I know me from when we played baseball, would say your tendencies are X, swinging a high pitch or whatever. There's people that are swinging out ahead of it. There's people that are behind the ball. Whatever the tendency is, kind of like a golf club, you can have like the tool crafted to benefit that scenario.
Yeah.
So this isn't like a fix-all for everybody. But let's be very clear. It's definitely working for the Yankees.
Like, I highly doubt Aaron Judge is going to. You know what I mean? Like, he's already mastered his own like a traditional baseball bat. But it's for like guys who, like, instead of like hitting at the end of the barrel, like near the end of the barrel, now it's like no. Most of their hits are on the inside of the bat. It's like shift it down, get a little bit more pop. Like for instance, for like the Yankees, like Jazz Chisholm and Anthony Volpe, it's like they swing around the ball quicker, and it's like, all right, bring the mass of the barrel down a little bit, you get more pop there.
Speaking of Jazz Chisholm, he loved his.
Oh, my bad. I think you could tell it's working pretty well for me, but I mean, it doesn't feel like a different bat. It just helps you in a little way. I don't know the science of it. I just play baseball, you know what I'm saying? I just feel like it gives you a feeling of just feeling like you have more to work with, you know what I mean? It gives you that extra confidence in your head to be able to go out there and hit anything. It feels like we're playing wiffle ball out there a little bit, you know?
I just love the idea of like some dork from MIT making this new bat, being like, I just gave like a lot of these guys $15 million more a year.
Dude, we're talking about the richest franchise in the league. Do you know what they paid that man? That guy. And now every team's
that guy gets to hang out in the dugout.
1,000%. Are you telling, dude? He's been hanging out in the dugout.
He's in the clubhouse. He's in the clubhouse. He's got a computer. He's playing League while everybody's getting ready for the game.
And the whole family joins too.
Oh yeah,
that dude's been around.
The game was sweet. Yeah, you're right next to judges.
Yes,
it's all good. It's all good.
And you know what's interesting? The Yankees are getting all the press right now because they're dominating in such a spectacular fashion.
And again, it's a small sample size. It's only been 4 games. Like,
well, sure. Well, but also understand this is not the first time we've seen this bat. No. It actually was implemented towards the end of last season, but it really just didn't get any attention. Right. What gets attention is, like you said, a franchise record breaking scenario. 20-9 is an insane game, sweeping the Brewers, but also, like, here's a game with the Reds, Alec Boehm, or I'm sorry, the Reds, the Phillies, and Alec Boehm, he's using the same
one of Alec Boehm's bats right here, Johnny. You and Stocker were looking at it. Ruben was looking at it. Should I get it right here? What do you think? Take some time to get used to it?
I don't know. I don't think so. But I always used a thicker barreled bat.
Yeah.
But it was thick all the way up. It wasn't tapered there at the end. But I could see
it's like, yeah, I'm used to a thicker barrel.
The common sense of using a bat like that. You know, the more wood you have from the trademark on up,
to make contact,
the better.
For the bat to help.
That's true.
Yeah.
That maths.
I will say though, after this new bat. So remember, like a few years ago, they were like, "Oh, they're juicing the balls because there were some more home runs hit," and now you have this thing. Barry Bonds should be in the Hall of Fame yesterday. Now, if this is like a standard, right? Because it's like back then when he was playing, no special bat, no special ball. He was a little special, a little special juice.
But reward the man for being special.
No one's hitting 776 home runs,
dude.
Aaron Judge is going to finish around 600.
Probably.
And he's probably the best hitter I've seen in baseball since Barry Bonds. Best pure hitter since Barry Bonds.
Right?
And
fair point.
He's not
Think about this. Albert Pujols was on a trajectory, and then they said, no steroids. He's like, but I want to stay. And they're like, no.
Yeah.
And he's like,
and they're putting him in the Hall of Fame.
That stopped quick.
And it's like him and like, I think Albert Pujols is like one of 6 guys that hit over 600 home runs. And it's like, you're going to tell
But again,
him.
when he stopped taking steroids, his career was noticeable.
Yeah. And it's like, that's the thing. It's like for a lot of these guys, it's like for Judge, it's like, how many more years is he going to have? And I would say for the next 5 to 7 years, he's going to be mashing 40 to 50 a year. But it's like, he's only at like what, 300 now. It's like, you would have to have 5 to 7 more years of close to 50 home runs to come close to Bonds' record. That's asking a lot. People now will be like, oh, he could do that. Sure. Like 6 years from now, maybe, right. Maybe these bats will help. It's an interesting change of the game. And you've seen a lot of them in more recent years. I think that's why baseball is like, I was a big fan of the pitch clock. I'm like, you're right. You do not need these batters doing their Nomar Garcia para, doing all the straps before they get in the box. Cause it's like, they're superstitious. You don't need the pitcher just staring at a sign for 20 seconds just because he wants to psych the hitter out. Get up there, throw the ball, get in the box, hit the ball. That's it. Yes. That's how the game should be played. It doesn't need to be this strenuous activity. If you want to change up the barrel to get a little bit more runners on base, a couple bigger pops at the bat, a couple more home runs, the fans are going to love it. The hitters are going to love it. These pitchers are better than they were a decade ago. They're throwing, so many of your starting pitchers are throwing damn near 100-mile-per-hour fastball deep into the game, 5-6 innings into the game. I would like a bigger bat if I'm going to be swinging at 100-mile-per-hour fastballs.
Yep.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit of help.
Especially
I'm still only going to hit 270 on the year. It's not like these bats are going to make these guys hit around 400. No guy's ever done that. Closest was George Brett back in the 90s, and he hit like 380. It's like, no one's going to come close to that. It's all right. Give him a little bit bigger bat, okay? Because these pitchers are still going to be unreal because they're finding so many different ways to get spin on the ball, rotation on their fastballs, get it moving all the time.
Well, and again, the thing that I quote more than anything in these types of discussions, Justin Verlander, an incredible pitcher, is someone who looks at us and goes, guys, I know they're messing with the balls because I'm throwing faster than I ever have in my life, and I'm way older.
Yeah.
That's coming from personal experience and probably a pitching Hall of Famer. So, Here's a guy looking at you going, I think there's a conspiracy. I'm taking his word for it. I'm going to go, there's probably something there. And then it has come out that they've been toying with the ball. So there is this goal of increase. If you're going to toy with the ball, what's wrong with toying with the bat? Especially when you give us parameters. And I'm a guy that appreciates, you should have thought of that in the rule then, guys. You gave me the rules, and I'm playing within that scope. Mm-hmm. If I've come up with something tricky, guys, that's called the game.
It's like
that's
Belichick
charm and competition.
Yeah.
What were you saying?
It's like Bill Belichick 101. It's like, that's what the Patriots used to do. They used to find way. They kept it within the rule book, but you didn't like it because why do baseball people not like it right now? Because it's the Yankees.
Bingo.
And the Yankees got away with it. And they got away with doing something legal. That's the funniest part is they're just pissed off.
We still let the Astros
I'm looking at you right now. I hate the Yankees. I hate the Yankees. I do not like the Yankees. I like Aaron Judge. I hate the Yankees with every fiber in my being. I have no issue with what they've done. I think it's good for the game. I think it's smart. If the Pittsburgh Pirates did this, people would be like, oh, the young crafty guys, those crafty guys are trying to find any way to compete. No. It's the
But it's
Bronx
the
Bombers
Yankees
who are like,
that
let's just
bought
mash.
an MIT engineer.
And they're like, we're just going to mash them. And here's the best part. Then afterwards, they're like, you can all get the bats. We don't care. We're still the Yankees. That's why it has people pissed off. If you're a betting person in the MLB right now, bet a lot of the overs. You're going to be, at least for the next few weeks, because then after like a month, they're going to be like, all right. There's 3 more runs on average for each of these games. Let's up the line for a bunch of these. But if it was any other team but a big market team, if the Dodgers did this, if the Mets did this, people would have been like, oh, of course. Oh, my God, the most expensive teams got to do this. If the Miami Marlins did this, people would have been like, oh, man, they're just trying. These small market teams, they just can't compete. Like, they just can't get an opportunity to win the World Series, even though there's been no back-to-back winner of the World Series in over 2 decades.
It makes national news this year when the Yankees hit 3 home runs in the first 3 pitches of the game and break a franchise record. The Phillies did it the season before. That becomes the story after it's national news. Is we're like, oh, wait, this has been around? Yeah. But look at that. Yeah, they're using the tool better.
Yeah.
The tool existed.
They're hitting the ball.
Yeah, the trick was already thought of.
Yeah.
They're doing it better. Speaking of which, though,
they only noticed it when Aaron Judge hit another 450-foot home run. They're like, how do you do that? As if he hasn't done like 330 others.
Dude, we are for sure underplaying. The first 3 pitches.
Oh, yeah, it's never been done.
3 home runs.
Never been done before. That's so crazy to think.
That's what I mean. Like, simmer in. If you're like, dude, how many times you've been to a game and the first pitch has been a home run? Maybe once or twice.
Yeah.
And those are incredible. Those are rare. You definitely don't see it the next batter.
No.
And you're definitely not going to see it the batter following. And then for it to happen again in the same inning, just not back to back to back.
And you know what? It being a former Yankee pitcher, they always knew they're like his first pitch, probably a fastball, probably dick height. Just get ready for it.
I thought him that.
Yeah. And they're like, it's Nestor. Where's it going to be? All of them. Right here. Probably like right around here. Just get ready for it. Swing. Even if it's not out, just touch the ball.
Let him see our torpedo bat. But we kind of touched upon it earlier, but we want to really get to it. Coach Aaron Boone acknowledges the history that was made in such an incredible feat.
9
that
home runs from your team today. Have you ever witnessed something like that?
Yeah, I played in one. Went 9 with the Reds in '99. Yeah, I think I hit the first one in that game. I actually said to Osmus after 3 innings, I said, how many do we have? And we said 7. I said, I think we tied or set the National League record when we hit 9. So, wow. I mean, what a performance. Kind of a weird, crazy game. Obviously, we got to catch the ball better. But yeah, obviously a lot of really great at bats.
It's such a baseball guy.
Just a weird sky, a weird game. But good to get a win.
Good to get a win.
Yeah, I bet. You're going to get like 90 more this year.
And come on, is there anything better than being the coach and like, they just made franchise history and one of the greatest franchises in American history. How do you feel? He's like, I already did it. My team did that. And I was on the team. It was cool. It was cool. We need to catch the ball better.
Yeah. We won the World Series that year too. Yeah. I still am trying to do that with this team, but
Aaron Judge is just not me. So
get good, Aaron. Oh God.
But you gotta love in the world of sports, there's always the barstool schlub. And who wouldn't have an opinion but Dave Portnoy?
All right, real quick update here. I got to talk about
the Red Sox had on. Unbelievable.
That have taken Major League Baseball by storm. This is, of course, the Yankees hired an MIT physicist to basically take wood from the other part of the bats, like the handle, the label, and put it in the sweet spot, making the sweet spot bigger. They did this because Anthony Volpe sucks, and he kept getting jammed and sawed off, and we're like, how do we make him not suck? Let's just make this bat called a torpedo bat, where basically you swing and you make contact on the handle, gets sawed off, it's a home run. So the Yankees have hit, like, I think 13 home runs. Jazz Chisholm or whatever that guy he's using, he's got like 13 home runs. Aaron Judge is hitting home runs. He's saying he's not using the torpedo bat. He is. Take a look. I mean, all the teams are going to use it. Should it be legal? No. Is it cheating? Yeah, it is. I mean, listen, this is coming from a guy who won the Triple Crown in high school, just mashed everywhere he went.
Trying to the belt, the 1-2 pitch. Hit high in the air, deep to right field. Avallo going way back. It's out of here. A home run
Into
for
the
David
neighborhood.
Portnoy. He got
Into
all
the
over.
neighborhood.
Start off.
I love it.
You hit a ball
Bounced off a roof.
That means you're not getting your hands through quick enough and you stink. Just taking the bat and making the thing like a cork bat with this hump, this torpedo hump. So you
I don't think they're the same, but I would also stand by it.
all you got to do is make contact and it's a home run, which the Yankees are doing right now. That defeats the whole, like, that's just making somebody who stinks better. If you get jammed and it's a home run, that doesn't mean you suddenly got better. That's just some geek from MIT, some physicist ruining 100 years of baseball or 200 years of baseball. So listen, if MLB wants to sit on their ass and not outlaw this torpedo bat, then all the teams are going to do it, and every game is going to be 100 to 98, and it's going to be 3,000 home runs. Like if you get sawed off
I'm
like
cool
Anthony
with that.
Volpe, oh, they studied Anthony Volpe and they found out he gets jammed on every single pitch. That means you stink.
The casual.
You should alter the
That'd be
bat
sick.
to make it better. Chisholm, same thing. He's hitting home runs left and right. So yeah, I'm fine with it. Yankees have a long history cheating and being scumbags, and this is just the latest. But again, I think I saw someone in the Twins or another team using it. But you got to get rid of the
The
torpedo
Twins haven't
bat.
won a
It's
game
unfair
yet.
to
You know, he talks this big game like, it's so stupid. I would never like it. The second Mookie Betts walks out there and starts hitting him, he's like, all right, it's pretty cool. I do kind of like it. It's like, dude.
Wait, Mookie Betts. Why Mookie Betts?
Because he has who plays for the Red Sox anymore?
Exactly.
Exactly. It's why that's the last Red Sox that mattered.
Oh, God. Yeah. I mean, shut up, Dave.
Yeah,
I love you, Dave, but shut
cheating,
up, Dave.
it's not cheating. First off, you make
That's
the
the thing,
rules.
though, yeah.
Playing within the rules is not cheating. The other point I want to make is he draws it comparable to cork bats. I'm for cork bats. Did you see Sammy Sosa? Fun times. Good times in Ridgemont High. Loved it. I would totally do it again. So
Sammy was still black.
Yeah.
Steroids.
Do you think it's the steroids?
No, I think
it's
wonder if
like
it's a pigment
body
thing, yeah.
dysmorphia. Like,
No, I don't
I
think
think
it's
he
that.
home aloned himself once, like, "Ah!" And then he's like, I
He's
like
like that
it.
Vincent Van Gogh painting or whatever.
I like it.
No, I think he does have pigment disease.
They
so.
said the same thing about Michael Jackson and Beyonce. I think it's
I wasn't sure about that.
Look at the
last one.
memes.
No, it's the quarterback thing. It comes back. Here's the thing: the MLB came out, and again, these were used last year. They weren't as highlighted, obviously, as they are recently. But it's like, if this is completely legal, I'm not going to sit here and say they're cheating. I'm not going to sit here and say they're cheating. The only reason why Dave Portnoy said they went out there and they're cheating is because it's the Yankees. If it was the Red Sox who popped off and did well, he'd be like, "Oh, we're just smarter. We're smarter. We're better. We're better. We're Michigan men." Like, he would have been saying that. And I'd have been like, "Oh, okay. So now they're cool. Like, now they're cool because they work for you. They could work for you next week when you get your torpedo bats." Yes. Give it a week or two, and you're going to see the Indians with torpedo bats. Sorry, the Guardians. You're with torpedo bats, and it's all going, and everybody's going to have them.
When he was ranting, and he's like, the whole team's going to, the whole league's going to have it, and it's going to be 1,000 runs, and Doug's like, woo! I was thinking, first off, there's been a lot of talk about this. Obviously, we're not the first to discuss this. The thing that keeps coming up all the time is everybody's going to get it. Well, it's not going to happen right away. It has to go into production. Okay.
Well, yeah.
It's still going to happen. And guess what I learned? Louisville Slugger that makes them all, they've been making them.
Like,
it's just that, okay, Louisville Slugger goes, we have to go off of the plans your team submits to us. And it's been like just a generic template for the most part in different variabilities depending on the batter. Now they just need to put that into production.
Yeah.
They'll easily, by May, everybody that wants one or everybody that'll succeed with one will have one. Brother, thinking of Jose Ramirez with a torpedo bat, has me tickled pink.
Dude, we thought
Give it to Carlos Santana.
We thought he sprained his wrist, and he did like 2-3 games ago, and then all of a sudden his first at bat last night, he cranks a home run. Like, give that man a torpedo.
Dude, seeing Big Christmas in a Speedo, I mean, a torpedo is exactly what Cleveland needs.
Clip that. No, you know, that's the thing. If the MLB came out and made a statement like, we haven't made a ruling on these bats yet, so we're not going to stop them from using them until further notice. No. They immediately came out and were like, yeah, this is legal. Everything they're doing is legal. I'm not going to sit here then as an individual who lived through the steroid era where it was illegal and I loved every second of it, look at the legal things that are going on and be like, how dare they? How dare you? It's just because it's the Yankees. That's it.
Yes.
It's just because it was the Yankees that it popped off with. And everybody hates the Yankees unless you're from the Bronx. And they hate everybody and we all hate them too. So it's mutual. It's mutual. I'm not calling them out. I'm not anti-Semitic. But what I am saying is I have no issue with them using these bats. I do not have an issue. I think it's going to be good for the game. If you're going to have 4 or 5 pitchers in your rotation that are throwing 100-mile-per-hour fastballs, and that is now the standard, right? Like the standard of the game is always increasing. These athletes are always getting better. You know, who knows? We might be a decade from now and guys are throwing 105. Like at some point, it's going to get ridiculous. So making the barrel a little bit more modified for certain hitters to get better production, I have no issue with that.
So before we move on, I just want to address one of the comments here by Zales OG. I want to see an Olympics of our best athletes juiced out of their minds. I want to see peak humanity. So there's a podcast with Joe Rogan. I can't remember what the organization was called, but there is a developing Olympics for like no rules. Any type of like aids are legal.
Oh.
And so you'll have a totally juiced out league. That's going to get exciting.
Dude, I'm just thinking of like Lance Armstrong. It's like he won all those bike races with one testicle just because he was on steroids. Like give them all steroids. Screw
Right?
it. Why not?
They wouldn't need even half that sack.
And that's the thing. It's like if you're going to make a bat that gives better offensive production, which I have no issue with, like these guys who were doing it in the steroid era, put them in the Hall of Fame. Like this is ridiculous. But the dweebs at the MLB Hall of Fame who probably couldn't hit 100 in their entire career are the ones not writing it. Like, did you know, by the way, this isn't on our topic, but it's still MLB. Ichiro. Everybody knows Ichiro.
Everybody loves Ichiro.
First ballot Hall of Famer, but not unanimous because somebody said he was not a first ballot Hall of Famer. One individual said that man did not deserve to be in the Hall of Fame on his first year being on the ballot. He still got in because all you need is above 75%, but he was like 99.2% first ballots. He got in the Hall of Fame. One guy said Ichiro was not a Hall of Famer on his first ballot in. We need to start publicly shaming these people who say things like that.
Right, that get to have their moment of like
he went on Twitter. Actually, I will say, like most of the times you have no idea who didn't vote. Like for instance, Jim Thome. It wasn't first ballot. He's one of the 6 guys with over 600 home runs. He wasn't first ballot. By some people, he got in on his first ballot, but you had a few to be like, nah, he only was a hitter.
And
yeah, he
who
had
are
600
they?
of them. Yeah, he had 600 of them. You probably couldn't even hit a college level fastball, but you voted that he wasn't good enough to be in there. That could be an entire segment.
And who are these people?
I don't want to go
like,
down
who
that
are
rabbit
they to
hole.
have that like level
Some
of
MIT
arbitration?
dweeb that's voting on that, and then some other MIT dweeb was like, "Let me make this bat that's going to make a lot of these guys hit like instead of 12 home runs, 25 in a year. Give that guy money, not these writers. Don't let me go down that rabbit hole. I could literally rip into the MLB Hall of Fame. It is the worst Hall of Fame in all of professional sports. It is the worst thing. You could have a year where no one makes the Hall of Fame. That's disgusting.
Seriously?
If nobody gets above 75%, whoever is legibly on the ballot, no one's in the Hall of Fame. No one made the Hall of Fame that year.
Wow.
Yep. It should be like minimum, like how the NFL does it. 3. There have been plenty of guys who made the NFL Hall of Fame where I'm like, but it's for the fans. It's like, yeah, screw it. Like Phillip Rivers, there's always an argument. He won't be a Hall of Famer. I think Phillip Rivers should be a Hall of Famer. But if it's certain people get the vote,
like me,
they get to choose. Right. Yeah, it could be like us 3. We could all be like MLB writers. and we get to write in on who gets to make the Hall of Fame. We get to say, not the fans who are all like, how did you not vote for Ichiro? Some guy be like, I didn't think so. Oh, who? Put them out, put them, list their names and who they voted for.
Man.
Yeah, this isn't like the U.S. election. I want to know who said Ichiro isn't in the Hall of Fame. That means more to me.
I could agree. All right. So wrapping thoughts. I think this is an awesome bat. I couldn't be more excited to see where this goes.
Dude, I want to get one.
Seriously, you should. And just report back to us how it plays out.
I spent $500 for my beer league.
Still competitively out here playing.
I spent $500 for my beer league baseball league just to get a torpedo bat. It broke halfway through the season.
But it's going to be exciting to see, does this just plateau? Was this kind of like a beginning season fluke? Because again, interestingly enough, these were around last season. So what changed? Before we totally depart from the torpedo bats, and we're just talking about baseball, two little clips I have ready. We're talking about the Yankees. We're really excited about the Yankees kicking off a season for them doing so well. I mean, I misspoke there. I'm not excited for them doing well at all. I also share the same disdain. Not a Yankees fan. However, it's an exciting time to be a Yankees fan as they kick off the season. Will, let me tell you, one of the great, exciting additions for their new stadium is they are selling tiramisu.
Tiramisu at Yankee Stadium live here.
It comes in a helmet.
Comes in a helmet.
You believe that? You got the fucking souvenir helmet.
Hell yeah, baby.
I have 100 of those helmets.
The boom. 5 big fucking boom.
Yeah.
Boom.
So does your dad.
Boom. 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 Boom.
I thought you'd like the booms.
5 big booms to walk back to their $3,000 studio apartment.
Yeah. So also across, not just Yankee Stadium, I want to talk a little bit of baseball too. Across the league, there was a Reds game, and the entire Reds stadium, to get in the head of the pitcher to close out the game, they started chanting out the pitch clock.
Violation. Boom. They're counting down the pitch clock to Ray, and he walks him on 4.
That's a big boom.
Couple under pressure.
Through the whole stadium. That's
what I mean. That's why it's fun for the fans. It gives the fans something else to do.
They're counting down.
That would wreck it.
Like I remember back in the day, like we were obviously way too young for it, but like Rick Manning, he was like the original, like it took a minute in between each pitch because he do all the straps and like pray to Jesus Christ and stand in the box just to take a pitch 4 inches outside and just do it all again. Like it'd be like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Like speed this game up.
No, exactly. So again, as I'm closing it out, wrapping thoughts, I'm excited for the bat. I think that's incredible. Some dude now has multiple beach houses because he outsmarted everybody. That's awesome, Dave Portnoy. That's not cheating. I think it's a bummer that it's the Yankees, but it's the Yankees for now. And the rest of the league, for those that will benefit, will catch up and implement it, and it'll make for a more exciting season. So let's see, and we should do a update recap to see, has it really evolved the league that drastically, or is it just another element? Wrapping thoughts, Will?
I like it. I got to give the MLB kudos. I'm not a fan of Rob Manfred as a commissioner. I think he's kind of a pushover, but I do think that the most recent like developments and like changing the game, make the bases a little bit bigger. I mean, no one even talks about that anymore because it doesn't actually affect it in like really much regards. The torpedo bats, it's another good addition. The pitch clock, it's good changes for the game. Try to build up the status of baseball more. People in the stadiums counting down the pitch clock. That's fun. It gives us something to do because baseball is the most leisure game to go to. Most of the people that go there, they're not even really paying attention, especially when their team's not up to bat. They're just sort of like having a beer, having a dog, talking about work, relaxing, give you some time to kind of like reflect. It's not like football where like you're in the play, you're in the game, all that stuff. In basketball, NHL, you're like in a stadium. Like at baseball, you were in the open air.
Yeah.
And like in most stadiums, like there's not a dome. So you're just like, just chilling outside, catching some sun, guy pitched. Like, I love that it's that time of year now where I could yell, "What are you looking at, Blue?" as if I'm not in right field and have no idea where that pitch actually ended up. Like that, there's something so euphoric about that, acting like I saw the pitch. It's great.
Yeah,
it's great. It's what the
divine.
world needs. And I'm the baseball guy. We're the baseball guys. Like, we actually will go to these games while all our friends are talking and be like, yeah, they look pretty close. Yeah, like, that's what we're doing. But for the people who aren't, that it's like, oh, it's the end of the game. Count down the pitch clock. Let's get in the guy's head.
I want to see fireworks.
Yes.
It's almost firework time.
Exactly.
And Doug's happy because I got 100 runs.
I got $3 hot dogs and 4 $2 Miller Lights.
All
That's
about
why
that.
some people love it. And you know what? They're so valid for that because they're at the game and they're not being disruptive. They're not being rambunctious. But for the game itself, these bats, it's like you're going to see you might see more production out of these guys offensively. It is a small sample size, you know, like the Twins are 0-4, which I love, but it's like, it's a small sample size. I could go next week and be 4-0,
right?
It's a quick thing. If it wasn't the Yankees, people wouldn't care as much. But the fact that it's the Yankees, it's like the baseball gods were like, all right, we're going to pick a team. Thank God it wasn't the Dodgers.
Oh.
If it was the Dodgers, I would actually be pissed. It'd be like,
Yeah, I would.
unbelievable. Every new guy that they want to sign, they get to sign, even over the Yankees right now. All these big players, all these Japanese guys that are supposedly great at the game are signing with them because they have Ohtani. I mean, hey, that's great marketing. That's great branding. We're going to go play with the best two-way player in the history of the league. Babe Ruth doesn't come close to Ohtani. I do not
even
care.
close.
I want to see Babe Ruth hit a 100-mile-per-hour fastball once out of the park. That's my closing thoughts.
Doug, wrapping thoughts.
I think it's pretty cool. I can't wait till we do an update and we're going, Jose finally got the bat and nothing changed. He's hitting the same.
Jose still looks like Jose, just with a different bat. I like that. I like that.
Like, it's like we're talking about it now, like, oh, game changer, but then watch, we get it and nothing's going to change for us because that's our luck in Cleveland. But yeah, I got to say too, learned a lot about Will. I didn't know he was such a baseball history dude. I love my history. He apparently knows his baseball history. Like, he knew all the facts. Like, this guy had the highest average out of anyone in this year. And I was like, damn, Will.
Doug's wrapping thought. Nothing about torpedo bats. It's Will impressed me.
I actually thought that too, because like I always think about the salary cap issue. And I'm like, you know what? Like, I personally don't think the MLB should institute a salary cap, because I don't know how you're going to look at these big market teams and say, hey, you got to cut your cap down to the size of these small market teams. Like, if I was the Yankees, I'd be like, no, I'll literally go buy that team. That's fine. And just get rid of them. But like for me, it's like, then I think of like, all right, well, like the NFL, we always complain the Chiefs always win it. It's like, there hasn't been a repeat World Series winner since the Yankees won it 3 times in a row when we were like 6 years old. They won it in 99 to 2001.
That was when my hatred of them started.
That's when we all hated them. But like any team can win the World Series at any given year, apparently, according to all of this. Because it's like, since then, it's like every year it's someone new. Right. Someone new. It's the most balanced league, you can almost argue, other than the amount of money they're allowed to spend. But it doesn't result in World Series. Like the Yankees, we're talking about them. They haven't won a World Series in 15 years. This is a team with 27. They haven't won it in 15 years. You know,
we've been longer.
Oh, yeah. I mean, God, I'd sell my soul for a World Series.
Oh, yeah.
Sell my soul for a World Series. World Series win for the Indians. Browns Super Bowl.
Oh, no.
Cavs championship.
Whoa.
Super Bowl goes.
But for me, it's more like the Indians were my first love of sports. Like, that was a franchise. Like, I was like, I would love a World Series win. I do get for this city, though, it would be bigger for a Browns Super Bowl. I can never argue against that. Just for me personally, it's like Cleveland baseball will always have my heart. Like, I hate Cleveland football. I love it. I hate Cleveland football.
I wish I could hate it. Unfortunately, I'm stuck here. Anyway, let's go on to our next topic here. It's a little bit heavier, at least to begin with.
One? I keep thinking of the.
Let me announce it. How about that?
I'm sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself.
It's a great way to find out what the topic is.
I'm sorry.
All right. So the great introduction here. We're getting into an interesting crossroad between consciousness and identity. There's this story about the Hogan twins, Krista and Tatiana, and they're conjoined twins that experience our reality in a way that challenges our understanding of consciousness, our nervous system, and really our relationship to, like, again, existence, our soul. What is a soul? So sit back. We have Jorgen here. You should definitely go check out his channel, giving us a great explanation of the multiple avenues of consideration that are presented by the case of the Hogan twins.
Like weird, interesting, or unique things about personal identity or consciousness? Watch this. Because these are the Hogan twins, and they're the only conjoined twins in recorded history to fail basically every personal identity test in Western philosophy, and I'll tell you why. The Hogan twins are craniopagus twins, which means they're joined at the head, the cranium, which means in almost all cases, these types of twins will share a part of the brain. For them, a huge part of the brain, but they have something unique that no one else in recorded history ever has had. But they're the most unique conjoined twins on the planet, because I'll get into the physiology of it, but they share each other's thoughts and feelings and sensory perceptions and feelings of pain. They can tell jokes without talking and a bunch of other things. So let's talk about that. For example, you can cover one of their eyes, right, and show the other one a stuffed animal or something and ask the one who can't see it, what is your sister looking at? And she can answer with 100% accuracy every single time. Also, you could scratch the other one's foot, for example, and the one whose foot is not being scratched can tell you what it feels like, where they're scratching the foot, how long, which foot, all of those things. But there's more. They've also noted that, like, if one eats ketchup, the other doesn't like ketchup, so she'll start to gag. So they share taste as well, and this goes for all 5 senses, and it gets even crazier than that. Besides a bunch of other things I won't get into, like one controlling 3 arms and 1 leg, the other one 3 legs and 1 arm, except for when they use intentional actions, then it's like 2 each. They can like take over control. There's a reason for this, and if you're skeptical and thinking, I don't believe you, this doesn't sound real, I'll give you the physiological reason. So pretty much every human or mammal and so on for that matter has a thalamus, a part of the brain called the thalamus, and it's deep in the brain. And it's also a really important part of the brain because it plays a key role in a bunch of things like sensory processing, motor control, cognitive functions, like it's a gateway to the prefrontal cortex, emotional regulation, pain perception, among other things. And since it's so deep in the brain, they won't share that. They each have a respective thalami, they each have their own thalamus, but there's something interesting that only they have and no one else has, and it's this. This is an actual MRI scan of their heads, and they have this. See this thing right here? I can't really get it to work. That is called a thalamic bridge. There's one that has been observed in the world, and it's in the head of the Hogan twins. Now, let me explain why this is important. The thalamic bridge that they have and nobody else does functions very much like a corpus callosum, which most humans and other species have. This green thing right here, the corpus callosum allows your right hemisphere and your left hemisphere to send information back and forth between the two. So we've actually done this, and we can do this, though they don't as much anymore. You can sever the corpus callosum, and a single human being will have 2 independent sets of conscious experience going on in the same head, same human, and each respective conscious stream will be unaware that the other conscious stream's in there, which has raised a lot of questions like, are we creating 2 persons in one human being when we do this? And you can look up many studies on that. But the point of this is, like the corpus callosum just sharing information between respective hemispheres, this thing right here shares information between the Hogan twins' respective thalami. Each thalamus can communicate, send information, much like our corpus callosum between hemispheres, from one thalamus to the other and vice versa. And given all those things that it does, like sensory perception, pain perception, emotional regulation, all these things, they share that as well. And so the Hogan twins have an overlapping or shared consciousness in a way that other Craniopagus twins do not. This is why they can tell jokes without speaking. They just do it in their head. Now, it's important to note something. So they're not actually seeing what the other person's seeing with visual imagery. They're just getting the information, much like your corpus callosum shares stuff. So they're not walking around with double vision or anything like that. It's just that they have the necessary information to always know what the other one is looking at or tasting or feeling or hearing and so on. So overlapping consciousness, that's pretty cool, right? But what does it mean for personal identity? Because this is where it gets interesting. Well, according to pretty much every theory in Western personal identity, they can't be twins. None of these views can account for how they would be distinct individual persons. They would have to be the same person. Now, I don't have time to go through all these, but like biological continuity, they are the same biological entity, or at least overlap in very important ways. Psychological continuity, yeah, their psychology overlaps or is the same. They're aware of what the other one's doing all the time. Narrative continuity, just like psychological continuity, yeah, like 90% overlapped. So not really any hard line distinguishing feature. And if you're like, yeah, they have two souls, well, then their souls overlap. And that's not really supposed to happen, because their consciousness overlaps. And if your soul is the seat of consciousness and actions and decisions and all these things like that, then the soul would either overlap or they would just share the same soul. And if you are one of those people who's like, the soul doesn't do that, then I'm not sure what it does, and we don't have any evidence for it anyway, so we can just like toss that to the side, but it doesn't solve the problem either way. Now, you might be thinking, sharing information is not enough to unite these two individuals into one person. That's all that's happening, is just sharing information, nothing more than that. And that's a fair point, but let's be consistent if we're going to say that sharing information isn't enough to unite two people into one, because let's not forget about this thing that just shares information between your respective hemispheres and is the only thing uniting your two separate consciousnesses into one. So if sharing information is not enough, then fine, but then you and I are two people, and I don't really know how to square that with anything, and that would just make the Hogan twins 4 people, because they have 2 corpus callosums and therefore would have 4 hemispheres, one of which is shared, so really 3. So would they be 3 people or 4 people? If sharing's not enough, then why is it enough right here? And if you think, no, sharing information is enough here because it unites consciousness and psychology, that's what it does for them with their thalamic bridge, which was named after it was discovered for them. And so if you think you are one person, then they would be one person. Or would they be 1.3 people or 1.7? Or is it like indeterminate or something? And the indeterminacy answer isn't a weird one. Personal identity, identity over time, identity at a time, this is abstract metaphysics. And we don't really know what we're talking about most of the time when we're talking about it. And that's true for consciousness in a large part. But this is interesting because if the only thing that makes you or me one person is that we share information between distinct sets of consciousness, then they do that too, and it might start to look like they are one person. And if sharing information between brains isn't enough to make them one person and they're actually 2, then I'm actually 2, and so are you, and they would be 3 or 4 or in between 3 or 4. And so if you're like, all right, like I'm one person, they gotta be one person, but they like one of them likes ketchup and one of them doesn't. And so it seems like they might be more than 1 or less than 2, or it's indeterminate and it doesn't solve the problem. And nothing in Western philosophy is going to help you solve whether or not they are one person's, 2 persons, or neither, or both, or in between. So this is really the most interesting case of consciousness and personal identity that we have right now. And they turn 19 years old this year. I would love to interview them or see an interview with them about what they think about this. But I don't know. What do you think? Because they seem like two people. I seem like one person. You probably feel like you seem like one person. But when you get into all the details of specifically how that would be the case, we're in some trouble with our views of personal identity and need to have some revisions or come up with better views that can account for cases like the Hogan twins or for me. Quick but dark last minute fun fact. When one of them dies, the other one will experience death while alive and have probably about 1 minute to tell you what it's like.
Bro, what a bombshell to end that on.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, if you think about that, nothing in existence is perfect. One is going to pass before the other, or getting to probably the heart of the conversation, if it is one whole consciousness, if it is one whole understanding, then maybe they go together and they're an anomaly. But there could be an opportunity for someone to relay the experience of that death. Now, Doug, I flip it to you. You got to kick off this conversation. You thinking they're two different forms of consciousness? Are they two different forms of identity? Or are they in many considerations, one soul, one consciousness?
I don't know. That video made me think about it. Like, if you'd asked me before all that, I would have been like, definitely, yeah, they're two people. But it's like, all right, he brought up some interesting points there with the brain stuff and everything. I would still say they're probably two separate people. I don't think they're necessarily one. And then he does the whole thing at the end. It's like, are you sure you're one person? And I'm like, I'm pretty sure it's just me up in here. And I'm pretty sure it's just me. There's no other Doug I'm talking to or anything, so pretty sure
You can
it's
only
just
handle
me.
one, Doug.
You know what? I got to appreciate the camera guy kicking off the dialogue. Did a great job. Doug, kudos. Now, there are multiple considerations that were laid before us, and, we'll dissect them. But to Doug's point, if I were to answer the question to kick off the conversation, do I think they're separate forms of consciousness? Are they separate souls? I would say undoubtedly yes. And if anything, they're imprisoned souls, like, attached to each other. But I wouldn't say that they're one soul shared together, especially when you start thinking of little, mitigating factors like one likes ketchup and the other doesn't.
Yeah.
How crazy is it that one can eat something the other doesn't like? And truthfully, I am curious. Again, I would love to be a part of the science consideration. So the names were Krista and Tatiana. In this theory, Tatiana doesn't like ketchup. Krista eats the ketchup. She's like, what the hell? I told you I don't like that. Is it that you don't like the neuron data of ketchup through Krista? Or is it, I'd be curious, when Krista tastes ketchup, are you computing it the same as when you taste ketchup? Doug makes the dog turn at the 18. It's 9 holes. He makes the turn. Doug makes the turn, never misses a dog. When Doug takes the bite of the dog with ketchup, does it taste the same as my dog with the ketchup? Considering in this scenario, we're attached to each other.
Doug too.
I'm the other voice in his head.
There can be only one.
It's an interesting way of putting it. Like, does she view ketchup as a taste the same way she does? It actually got me thinking of Pokemon and Mew and Mewtwo. Like, they're two different beings, but like one's made from the other, right?
Sure.
And they both communicate telepathically with one another. They don't actually have to verbalize the language to one another in order to speak. In fact, Mew doesn't even speak. She just mews. So it got me thinking of like their consciousness and the way they kind of. I would be absolutely annoyed though if I was like, I gotta put ketchup on hers, not on that one, and then if they
no, it's Krista never gets to have ketchup because Tatiana ain't a fan, and their brains are attached, always computing. Every time you have ketchup, I'm tasting ketchup, so it doesn't matter that you are the only one eating it. I don't like ketchup.
If you and that one were conjoined at the hip and that one was like, no, I don't like that, we can't have that, you would hit him. You would take your hand on this side, punch him so hard.
Someone is dominating the merger here. It ain't gonna be Doug.
Doug, we're going back on the top thrill. I don't really like roller coaster. No, we're going back on the top thrill.
I love the top thrill.
I'm so glad
All about
you
top
went
thrill.
with Cedar Point roller coasters, and I was considering like
we're going scuba diving.
Let's be thankful.
Let's go to the
These
Titanic.
folks aren't taking it. They probably. What do you think? They're the Guggenheims? They'd be prevented. So, man, damn it, Doug. I totally lost where I was going with that. Oh, no, it's not going to be, I don't like to ride the roller coaster and you don't. It's going to be, I don't like Bob and you do. It's, thank God they're not really in the realm of romance because, like, I don't like the taste of Bob and she loves Bob. That's a problem.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
Dude, okay. This is a rethink, take lighthearted, fun way of playing with a consideration of consciousness. Like keeping this whole thing grounded in, okay, I kind of think it's cool, the consideration of you have two halves of two separate brains. We do know the left brain and the right brain have two different considerations. One's more mathematical and scientific oriented, and the other is more creative and artistic oriented. And, you know, you could tell by somebody's personality which half of their brain is the stronger, more dominant side based on their personalities and interests. However, they are two distinct. And as the theory suggests, what are they sharing? They're sharing this like Themis little ball in the middle of their brain. And what's connecting that is this corpus callosum, this bridge, which is a bridge that is the bridge. Okay, so here's the math. Here's the logical equation we're left to consider. The corpus callosum is this bridge in between your two halves of the brain. Your two halves of the brain are two different personalities, two different forms of consciousness. What makes you one, at least in the socialized understanding, is the corpus callosum is allowing the exchange of that information to be within each other, making it one. Okay, these two distinct beings are sharing. Not only, they're sharing one Themis thing. Damn, I should have had that written down. The Themis thing. And then you had the corpus callosum bridging all of it together. Right. So like he's making up. He goes, all right, really, they have one lobe, one half separate from the other, and they're kind of sharing one. So are they 4 different people? Are they 3 different people? Are they just, in the social understanding, just 2 separate people? Or are, because of the corpus callosum, making, if Will is one person, 2 halves of the brain, bridging data through the corpus callosum, you're one. Then why wouldn't they be one? 3.5 lobes of a brain, all connected by a corpus callosum, all exchanging information in one data center. Dude, how crazy is it? I can see the teddy bear that she's seeing, and I'm not even looking at it. And I'm not even visually seeing it. My brain is just computing it. Think about that. Like, talk about the science of Elon Musk's Neuralink. Like, you know, we had the ha-has with the April Fools at the beginning, but man, talk about bringing it full circle. Like, it is literally a chip. Like, it is like a hard drive as we understand it. And if you can truly, truly compute, understand, and digest that neuro network, you could recreate it, you could hijack it, twist it, manufacture it, whatever. So to me, it's like this is the beginning of an understanding that we didn't even know really existed, which is like this is codable. This is a network as we in an organic. It's so microscopic and so grandiose that it seems fantastical. And yet it quite literally is in a severe complexity that is very easily, once you understand cursive, the language is totally easy to read. You just needed to decipher it with we need to decipher a neural network that we have no understanding of and didn't even know we needed to read. Now we got to figure out how to read it. Then we could once we can interpret it, we can start to work with it. I don't know. To me, this is the beginning of a total different understanding of just our relationship to this realm. Like, is this simulation theory? I keep laughing. Like, all the nerds, philosophers, and scientists, atheists, it's probably a simulation, if anything, which means there's a grand creator. And for you to compartmentalize that it's not the God we've all been told, is it needs to be ones and zeros. Like, I need to be in a computer because any other form of simulation, like, I don't know, an organic simulation or brain in a vat, or literally just your consciousness experience. It's a consciousness, a pulse through time and space that is experiencing something but has no organic bind to anything. Whatever it is, you still could. If there's a creator, then, but it's a simulation. No, you're talking about God, you moron. But you saw the Matrix. So you're special. I'm chosen. I'm an atheist. God isn't real and I'm better than God. No, you're conceding the grand creator. Anyway, bringing it full circle. There's a whole nother interesting concept. Do you have any thoughts? Because I'm going to go on another quick diatribe. So do you have any thoughts before I segue to something that builds upon this?
Could one of them be schizophrenic and the other one can't? Or would both of them be schizophrenic?
Dude, you know what I love?
That was actually a thought I had during it. I was because both of them are seeing what they're all seeing at any given time. It's how would someone not lose their mind? And their concept of reality. Now, again,
unless they share a mind.
Exactly.
And to them, this is just how about this?
For me, yeah. That's
you would lose your mind if that became your world.
Exactly.
But if it was always your world,
world they've known,
then no other way. You wouldn't lose your mind. That would be your mind.
That's why it's I'm fully in the thing and be no, they share the same consciousness, because otherwise, how would they not?
Before I depart this stream of
this
consideration,
realm of consciousness.
Yeah,
Sorry,
seriously. I was saying this stream of consideration. I'm a thesaurus. Play with it here. Have some fun. No. In this stream of consideration, you brought up autistic kids. It is funny in the release of classified documents by 3-letter agencies. It recently came out of the studies they were doing with autistic kids, and it proves that there's a whole generation of autistic kids that have telepathic abilities, and they're just we knew, I've seen The Accountant. So they're superheroes. But
that's of all the things in media with autism in it, you're The Accountant. That guy.
That's where I get my worldview.
My brother, he really likes to punch. That's a comparative one.
Yeah. So again, I'm well versed in the subject.
I fell for the U.S. AIDS propaganda machine of The Accountant too.
So they came out with these recent declassification of documents that are showing that autistic kids, again, have telepathic abilities, that, they could be incredibly brilliant in certain skill sets and whatever the case may be, walking down that road. That there were a series of trials and scientific studies done on many, many kids that have kind of made this a reality that isn't socially understood, but scientifically understood. So there's obviously some sort of spiritual angle to this whole experience that none of us really know about because we've never been taught about it. So we're not even considering it. We're not wrestling with it. It's not even a part of our scientific understanding. But for the grander mechanism, it totally is. It totally is. And they believe it. They work upon it. They have continued to develop it. What's up, Doug?
So it's funny you mentioned the CIA, the documents.
And there we go.
Yeah, there we go. I ruined it all. But have you ever heard of the show Eureka?
No, tell me.
So it was an old sci-fi show. It's on Amazon Prime. And so there's a kid there that's autistic, but he ends up being the only one able to sense this otherworldly force in one of the seasons. That it's a big plot of it, and he's special because of his autism, so he's able to communicate with it and like use it and stuff. It's pretty crazy you mentioned that, because like that's to me, I was like, I've seen some that actually like did stuff with that, and that was one of them.
See, there's another show about it. It's real.
It's definitely real. Hey, we've
that's
talked.
Where we get our science.
We've talked about how Hollywood and everything's trying to get us ready for these things the government already knows.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'm waiting for a spider to bite me too, and I could start climbing off and stuff.
And then you're gonna leave us for New York.
I'll be a Yankee fan.
So one of the things that I wanted to talk about, it's funny, as I am developing kind of a topic over here about the conjoined twins and what that means for consciousness and individual identity. Just earlier this week, I saw a couple articles floating around that scientists are reconsidering their understanding of consciousness, and that it really isn't in the brain as we've understood it, and that it might be more predominantly in the heart. That's what some of the titles were telling me. Well, then I go down that road a little bit more to come to understand that that's a bit of a misnomer. And, people are blowing it out into a different proportion. At most, there may be a consideration that it might just be in the neurosystem, but it definitely isn't totally or solely in the heart. However, I thought, because I walked down this road and did some research on the relationship of consciousness and its location in our brain or in our heart, I wanted to use a little bit of my philosophy degree on the show once. So let's walk this consideration out. Scientists aren't broadly claiming that consciousness is more in the heart, as this definitive shift is, assuming. But studies have increasingly explored how the heart and brain communicate in ways that might influence conscious experience. For instance, research into interception, the perception of internal bodily signals, suggests that the heart sends powerful signals to the brain that can affect emotions, perception, and even decision-making. A 2024 article from Science News highlighted how deciphering these heart-to-brain messages could unlock new insights into mental health and consciousness itself, pointing to the heart's role in shaping our senses of self. Meanwhile, studies on patients with disorders of consciousness have shown that brain-heart interactions can reveal residual awareness, even when behavioral signs are absent, as noted in the Science Direct paper. This doesn't mean the heart is the seat of consciousness, which was brought up in the video we saw earlier, but it suggests a more integrated relationship than previously thought. This speculation aligns with older ideas, like the cardiocentric hypothesis from ancient cultures. Think Aristotle arguing that the heart was the center of sensation and intellect based on his dissections. And again, that was crazy, dude. Here's a dude just in Greece, just like pulling apart bodies. It's like, I think we're thinking from right here. Dude, imagine be like, I'm like sick. And you're like, bad Euro meat. I'm going to leave my body to Aristotle. And he's just walking through the streets like, this is Craig's heart.
I guarantee you nobody ever once said, I'm going to leave it for Aristotle.
He just it like
went into the graveyard and was like, yeah, I'm using this one. There was no waiver that they signed for science back then.
I hate that that's true. Dude, okay. Anyway, he did his dissections. Modern science has largely dismissed this, pinning consciousness to neuroactivity in the brain, particularly in areas like the cortex and the brainstem. Yet the heart's little brain, and this is something that's cited quite a bit, its intrinsic cardiac nervous system of about 40,000 neurons keeps popping up in discussions in these considerations of consciousness. It regulates heart function and communicates with the brain, hinting at a supporting role in conscious processes. The heart and consciousness. What do we know about it? Well, there's this relationship between the heart and consciousness, and it's complex, but not primary. The brain remains the leading candidate for generating consciousness, with theories like integrated information theory, IIT, focusing on neurocomplexity. However, the heart's electromagnetic field, its rhythm, and its signals to the brain via the vagus nerve. Vagus nerve, trust me, I've been running this through a couple times today. I'm hearing it different ways. I wanted to be prepared. I'm sticking with vagus nerve. And other pathways can modulate mental states. For example, heart rate variability has been linked to emotional regulation, and some researchers propose that these bodily rhythms contribute to the background of conscious experience. Less the driver, more the canvas. Philosophically, this ties into the debates about embodied cognition, where consciousness isn't just a brain event, but a whole body phenomenon. The heart, with its constant dialogue with the brain, might amplify or color subjective experience. Still, no hard evidence suggests it independently generates consciousness. Damage to the cortex can obliterate awareness, while a functioning heart alone, say in a brain-dead patient, doesn't sustain it. And to me, that's pretty much the most pivotal part. Transplant surgeons, I wanted to make this a major part of the consideration, though. Transplant surgeons and consciousness transfer has a historical asterisk to this whole consideration. Now, let's add some historical spice from heart transplant experiences. Since Christian Barnard's groundbreaking 1967 surgery, surgeons and patients have occasionally reported eerie phenomena suggesting a transfer of traits or even consciousness from donor to recipient. These anecdotes aren't scientific proof, but offer a haunting glimpse into the heart's mystique. Take Claire Sylvia, a heart transplant recipient in the late 1980s. After her surgery, she craved chicken nuggets and beer, foods she later learned her teenage donor loved. Gotta love teenagers. She documented this in her book, A Change of Heart, sparking intrigue about cellular memory. Then there's Paul Purcell, a neuropsychologist who interviewed dozens of transplant recipients in the 1990s. He recounted cases like a man who post-transplant developed a sudden passion for classical music, only to discover his donor was a violinist. Another patient reported vivid dreams of a car accident, matching the donor's fatal crash. Purcell speculated that the heart might carry memories or personality fragments, a notion he tied to the heart's neural network. Surgeons themselves have weighed in. J. Andrew Armour, a pioneer in cardiac neuroscience, argued in 1991 that the heart's neurons might store emotional data, influencing recipients. While mainstream science attributes such changes to psychological factors, e.g., trauma, medication, or suggestion, these stories persist. A 2024 study in Science Direct revisited these claims, categorizing reported shifts, food preferences, temperament, even donor memories, while cautiously suggesting cellular mechanisms like epigenetic memory or RNA transfer. Still, it's a fringe idea and a paradigm shift. So, is consciousness moving from the brain to the heart in scientific consensus? Not quite. It's more of a provocative speculation than a true recent development. The brain still reigns as the hub of consciousness, but the heart's role as a collaborator is getting a closer look. Historically, transplant tales add a layer of wonder, hinting at mysteries beyond neural wiring. Whether it's the heart whispering to the brain or just our imagination running wild, the dance between the two keeps the question alive. Where does you live? For now, science says the brain, but the heart's not out of the conversation yet. So with that consideration, keeping it grounded in our dialogue about the Hogan twins, they both are operating off of a totally different cardiac system. They have two different hearts. And so with, DNA, but again, what is DNA memory? Like if somebody had a transplant from their heart, wouldn't that heart be the experience of this conjoined, like, let me give you, now I'm really pulling out my philosophy degree. Hegel, there's very few philosophers. You get thrown so many at you that there isn't many that like you really sit with. And there's ones where you're like, I'll never forget this guy. One of the things that always sat with me about Hegel was the consideration about perception and experience. So Hegel wrote about what it is to be a bat. Now, let's say we got into an intense meditation session here and we worked out how to get ourselves in the mindset and really try to put ourselves in the experience of a bat. And you really had the mastery of conscious consideration. At the best and most maximum you could do, the best you could do is to know what it's like for Will to be a bat. You'll never know what it's like for a bat to be a bat, but you'll know what it's like for Will to be a bat. You know, we try to do this with like other races, you know,
Right,
in America, like what's it like to be a black?
Like
instead of a bat,
experience,
right? Like the only thing you could ever at best know is what it's like for me to be an African American in America. I would never know what it's like to be that, living that lens. Totally. It's at best my lens through their eyes. And that can be applied to really any form of trying to make this understanding. And so I'm gonna really struggle. Language is going to be difficult here. But the point I'd like to make is, at best, what would it be for us to know what it's like to be Krista or Tatiana? It would be, you know, at best, what I would think it would be like to be them.
Mm-hmm.
But truthfully, back to like the heart, I was making the argument they have two different hearts and therefore they're two different. And what if you put the heart of Trista in someone else and they had genetic memory of that experience? They'd have the lens through Trista. So follow me here. Bob gets a heart transplant from Krista. Man, I really comment. Trista's the two of them. Okay. Bob gets a transplant from Krista. He has DNA memory from that experience, but it'd be Krista. I think my projection would be, I think the experience of Krista, what Bob would be interpreting, is not the right side. Not this. I think it would be the one.
Yes.
Like your experience is tickling that foot and this foot, covering this eye. I see the bear. Like, I think it truly is. That makes me come back to everything we've talked about in this whole conversation points to separate, different, distinct consciousness, different, distinct souls. But I think the final point is this whole, if you were to take on that experience of Krista and what is Krista's experience, I think Krista's experience is one.
No.
And we call Krista separate from Tatiana,
yeah.
but I think they are mirrored experiences.
I don't think you'd be able to do that though. Meaning, take one of their hearts and put it in someone else. Sure, scientifically.
Yeah, and then they both die.
Exactly.
Right?
That's what I mean. Like, how would one be able to
Well, what if they
decide?
die in a car crash and now you've got two hearts for a transplant?
Exactly. Yeah.
So, okay, boom. Let's take it to, take it, let's really walk out the hypothesis. Dude, this is what made philosophy class so much fucking fun.
That's why I had to bring that up, because I was like,
all right, they get in a car crash. Yeah. You've got two hearts, Bob and Frank. Two of them now are getting a heart. Two of them are now adopting genetic memory in some aspect. Would their lenses be different? Now, my belief is that you're getting Bob's lens through the one and Frank's lens through the one. But somebody that wants to make the argument that they are separate, which again, come back to the ketchup, come back to the, the romantic beliefs and everything else
that they both have.
Yes. The true argument would be Frank has a different lens of Krista and Bob has a different lens through Tatiana versus the first scenario, which is
only one's getting one of the two.
Yes. It's Bob's version of the one and Frank's version of the one.
Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't even formulate an answer on that. It'd be something almost like interesting down the line to try. Like if you're kind of like one of those, like again, like they mentioned at the end of that video, like one may die, the other one will get to experience what that would be like, even if it's only for like a moment in time, because there's no way one could die and the other survive.
Well, and again, let's look at him. Here's what's crazy to me. This guy, Jorgen, right at the end, drops that they're 19. They're turning 9. They're 18, turning 19 this year. This is about the oldest picture I could get of them. The guy is the little clip on the left, Jorgen. I did all the pictures on the side. Like, dude, I can't get older pictures of them.
Yeah.
So what do they look like now? They've obviously been out of the public eye for quite some time. I don't know. I'm super curious. What is that experience like today? You're now 19, turning 19. Again, this is a statement for the sake of philosophical consideration with and I'm going to say it delicately so it has like the hearts of those involved in mind. But like are they mentally deficient in any way? Like we're having this whole conversation about the neural network between the two of them. The information you're giving me is that when one sees the teddy bear, the other one with its eyes closed says they see the teddy bear. They're seeing it or they're getting the information. How hard was that to extract? Like, guess what? You could have a pretty sophisticated scientific dialogue with me if you wanted to dissect my physical understanding of the world around me. But like, are you interpreting this through grunts, or are they like, no, this is my experience. I went to school today and I have a crush on Steve. Like,
and then Chris is over there like, Steve.
Yeah. Chris is like, I hate Steve. He's got this grin, the dimples, not it. No, I don't know. It's an interesting consideration. And the thing is, like when you look at the X-ray of the brain, that this cortex situation,
it really looks like one giant brain.
And as he's talking about it, I'm like, there's so much opportunity here for learning and a better understanding of the world around us, and so much to dissect. But at the same time, if you can't get anything out of them, then there's nothing. It actually poses no value.
Yeah. And so I don't know, like, would they even be able to consent to being like an experiment? Like, are they able
I'm going to be real with you. This is the utilitarian in me, and that's the only position I come from. Can you be a doctor, nurse, teacher? Nope. Going down the line. Can you even bag the groceries? I mean, dude, do you remember? Like, I'm not trying to be a total jerk here.
Right, but it's like what are their
when
actual
the local
capabilities?
Marks hired the Down syndrome kid, it was like, we love this. And this was new. Guess what? I make this a statement not because I'm cold-hearted, but because my dad's generation didn't see Down syndrome kids bagging at the grocery store.
Right.
So it was a marvel adaptation socially to start integrating people that we were literally killing at a point because they had no value. So I'm not trying to have a cruel consideration here, but it's like, are these people going to be able to bag groceries? No.
And it's
I don't know. No, really, I don't know. If they could, they're going to school and they're going to get a job, then like really it's none of your business to intervene. But it's really like, if you can't hold up a job, you can't hold up a piece of the society, you're not a pillar in this thing. What you could provide is the next step of scientific understanding. And so, like, I don't want to say if they can't consent, they don't have a right to do, but like at some point it's, what else are you going to do?
Right.
Like, what else are you going to do? You're alive. You're alive right now. You can't kick a ball. Can you paint? Like, here's the problem is we found out about this story and all of the understanding takes off around where they're 7. I don't even know. Now they're turning 19. It's like, what are they doing?
Yeah.
Are they out of the limelight because they can't talk?
Probably.
And they're just,
if I were to assume, yes. Like, just like,
but in a perfect world, they're not. Because you see a lot of conjoined twins, even cranial conjoined twins that are audible, are functioning.
But again,
and
I
so
think that's what makes this one so oddly unique. It's
Right.
just the
they're
circumstances.
but again,
around it.
how do you know they're telling jokes to each other without talking?
Dude,
if you can't communicate with
I
them?
would love to know that they're actually like professional pranksters. Like they're both are in on it at the same time, right?
In
so
on
like
what?
So like one of them gets hired, right? One of them gets hired at one job, one of them gets hired at the other, but they can't be at both places at once, right? You know what I mean? But they're in on it. They get the double salary. That'd be genius.
How do you do that? How do you
Exactly. That's what I mean. Like I don't know how they would do that. I don't know how they do anything. As far as I know, they can't do anything.
Fair.
So,
but that's my consideration here. Is I think part of the problem is we really don't know where they're at currently.
that's why I thought of Mew and Mewtwo. I was like, are they even able to speak to other people or just amongst themselves?
Well, again,
And it's all telepathically.
They've
Like,
gotten a lot of data out of these girls, right? They don't like ketchup. You can when I'm scratching the one's foot, you can tell me in what way or whatever. There's enough data retained from them that clearly they can communicate in some regard. Is it by buttons on a keyboard, or are they like, "Excuse me, good sir, I don't like ketchup"?
and that's the thing. That's why I think like they probably have a really difficult time communicating. You got to think
so,
you're in the digital age with social media. Like you said, there are plenty of conjoined twins out there in the world right now, even conjoined at the cranium, that are able to speak, able to completely be functionable. And you hear from them, and you can see them, and all that stuff. And then these two girls hit a certain age, and they just disappear. Like we're in the digital age. To just disappear like that, it's hard to do, especially for someone of their
that was on
circumstance.
TLC or whatever, right? Like,
Exactly.
yeah.
You know, so
Fair point.
I'm not sure. I hope not. I hope not for their sake. Because I'd love to hear more, but for them to be at that age now and you don't hear anything, like I've never heard of these two. Again, I don't know tons of conjoined individuals in the world, but we are in the modern age where it's like I see so many people in this world that I do not want to see. I would like to see more of these two, and nowhere to be found.
And again, to avoid complete ignorance, I really don't know the details in which they retained all this data. Maybe it's we've got all these pictures and everything from when they were kids, but the data was actually retained when they're 18. This is recent stuff because this seems to be a more recent story. So let's land this baby. My final considerations. One of the things that was brought up by Jorgen and kind of brought up again in the heartbeat monologue is how the soul is the seat of consciousness, and they share a consciousness. So do they share a soul? I think this comes down to a personal consideration, because this is where science falls short of being able to measure. And so now this comes down to your faith. Where do you lie? If you're some soul-crushing atheist, then souls are nothing. We just die, we go to nothing. So you're not even talking. You're actually not even a part of this fun consideration of a soul. You're nothing. Go back to Stardust, dog shit. That's what you are. They chose it. I'm not. I'm a special. I'm an angel. I'm special. I'm one of God's children.
I will be at the pearly gates saying, no, no, no.
No. They chose to be Doug Papoo. So, is the soul the seat of consciousness? My position is it really comes from the faithful position at which you approach that question. If you're a soulless dog, then you're nothing. If you believe that you were given a soul, but Planned Parenthood can do their thing, then like really you don't think they have a soul till they come out. So then you believe it's one soul. So this is where it comes out. If you hate existence and you don't believe in God, no souls, we're all dog shit. If you believe in a God, but Planned Parenthood is totally kosher, cool, kachoo, which my mom worked there, so buzz off. Still think it's killing babies, but hey, good times in Ridgemont High. Bringing it back again. Anyway, those people, I would say, have to say it's one soul. It's one soul because it's not a soul until it's birthed. those that believe that you're killing a baby, they would probably think it's two souls, because that means what's fertilized and a living being in the womb of life is given a soul by God. And when those kind of like, oh no, shit, they're touching, and then they merge a little bit, my position is that they were given two separate souls in the womb, which you are massacring with a coat hanger, but like they have a soul and they just touched, and now that's two souls. So that's my answer on the soul thing. They share information between distinct forms of consciousness. Will's barely keeping it together, which is making this tough. Sorry. No, I just want them to know why I'm not just laughing at nothing. Anyway, share information between distinct forms of consciousness. It is crazy that if one tastes ketchup and the other one doesn't like it, it becomes a whole thing. That they could tell jokes between each other. But the key takeaway is they're not actually seeing through the eyes or feeling through that neurosystem. They're just receiving the information. And so I don't know. I kind of flip it to I've kind of laid the stage. My heart is where it's at, but I leave it to the audience and those in the comments. With all of that considered, where do you think it comes out? Are they two separate souls? Is this separate consciousness? If the soul is the seat to consciousness, then this may be one thing. But they have separate identity. There's a lot to consider here. I flip it to you. Will, what are your wrapping thoughts?
I get to follow that up. Okay.
Oh yeah.
You brought in the coat hanger. I was just thinking like they just trying to unconjoin.
It's just nothing, dude. It always comes back to Louis C.K.'s. It's one of two things. It's only one of two things. You either think you're killing a baby or just taking a shit.
All right. So I had like two things consistently in my head. One from the start, I just think of Jeff Bezos from South Park with the giant head that just speaks telepathically. And that's how I am envisioning. That's how I hope that they are, because that seems kind of cool. And then two, when you did the heart, like the heart is the soul, right? And the heart could be the mind too. I just thought of Yugi from Yu-Gi-Oh saying like, I believe in the heart of the cards over and over and over again.
This became the dorkiest.
You brought the philosophy conversation to the guy who can't keep a straight face during your entire diatribe. I'm sorry. I'm doing my best here. I am really doing my best.
Yeah, this is really on you, Alex.
Yeah, no, it's
I wanted to think.
It's a cool topic. Like, it's making me think. I just don't have the philosophy like pedigree to like really like battle the minds here. And I think personally, I think they're one soul with two hearts.
Oh wait, I got an answer here.
I'm still talking, Doug.
I got an answer for you though, Will. I think, therefore I am. There's a philosophy. Woo!
We don't even know if they could talk. But back to what I was saying. Because like the heart thing got me interested, because I was like, particularly when you talked about the car crash. Like before we got to the car crash one, we were like, well, only one would get their heart. I'm like, okay, well then the other one would pass away, because there's no way that body could sustain off of one heart. That's why they have two hearts. And then I was like, well, that's an interesting, because then I started thinking of like the two individuals who would then get the hearts. I'm like, would they be like bonded to one another then? Even if it was like one was in this hemisphere and one was in another hemisphere. I don't know. Yeah. Like it could be at two completely different locations.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, but would they like
have a bond?
That they don't know of, especially if they don't know, like, oh, this is where the heart came from.
If one's feeling sick and it makes them feel sick and they don't know why, they just randomly start feeling sick.
Right. Like I would go schizophrenic. Like I would be like, there's such an interesting case in that regard to be like, what do you do with the body, with science afterwards, being like, oh, well, this is a compatible heart with this individual.
Well, and so I appreciate you. That is a strong wrapping point, because you reminded me of something that was one final consideration that we glossed upon at the beginning and never readdressed. And I think is the answer to the whole consideration. Dude, Jorgen goes up there and just does a 10-minute dissection of this philosophical consideration. last second gives the biggest atom bomb. 10 minutes, and the last second was everything. When one dies, if the other one stays alive, they'd be able to tell you what the experience of death is like. And I think this is our answer to everything. There are animals in existence that have multiple hearts.
Yeah.
So what I want to say is he raises a fun philosophical theory that in a classroom would be great to dissect and discuss. However, keeping it grounded in reality, I don't think, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a scientist, I'm just one that ponders and considers. And from my ignorant perspective, I truly do not think we'd be able to have one dead while the other one's alive, even for seconds.
Right.
Even if it's for a second where it's like, shit, I'm seeing Jesus.
just the one,
Jesus is there.
No, it's like they still can't speak, so one dies and the other one. Huh?
Fuck you, dude. No.
We don't know.
No,
That's
the big one would be like the one goes and he's just like Elon Hubbard. Whoa!
One dies, the other one pushed in 9/11. Like, whoa! We learned it all. That's what I mean. Like, that's like the crazy thing too. Is like when you get down to the nitty gritty, it's like how much would we?
Well,
even
no.
be
So
able
I
to
think
tell?
that answers everything, right?
Yeah.
Like, if we could we possibly agree? Occam's razor. What is the most likely? I don't think one can survive without the other. Therefore, making it one unit. Again, doubling back to there are species that have multiple hearts. The thing that's, breaking this down is that they have like this side doesn't like ketchup, but this one does. It's like, really, I'm looking at an organic thing that has multiple mouths.
Yeah.
Multiple hearts. One corpus callosum.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if the corpus callosum is what makes Will one thing out of two brain halves, then what's 3.5 brain halves connected by a corpus callosum? Especially if through the whole science consideration of where consciousness lies, it is clearly the brain. Because you could have a working heart, dead brain, no consciousness, working brain, dead heart. You're thinking.
Yeah.
Not for long, but you're thinking. So again, there's this compatibility that makes it very interesting. You got to dive into the comments and let us know what your thoughts are. We got to rethink this thing together. Getting into our final topic here, this is a fun one to kind of let loose and wrap up the day with. Wildness when Billy McFarland, a name you probably haven't heard of in forever, comes back into the limelight because FYRE, if anybody remembers, FYRE Fest, the festival that notoriously goes down in infamy because it was just this multi-$1,000 festival that just bottomed out. If you don't remember, let's go back in time. This takes us back to around 2017, 2018, when Billy McFarland took the world's attention with FYRE Festival for the first time.
All these models in the Bahamas.
The most insane festival the world has ever seen.
Island getaway turned disaster.
It became barbaric.
Right now, we are the laughing stock of everything.
We're gonna throw a festival, yeah.
This is not a luxury music festival.
There's mattresses all over the place getting soaked.
The save yourself mode kicked in.
Oh my God. It's gonna be the biggest event in a decade, I promise you.
I'll be there.
Biggest event in the decade.
I'll be there.
And I love Ja Rule. I'll be there.
And he never showed up.
Oh, will you, big dog? So, again, big Netflix documentary. If you haven't seen it, it was like Tiger King. It was what everybody was talking about. It was this super expensive FYRE festival down, I think, in Mexico. And when everybody got there, there was no food, no water. There were these gorgeous, beautiful 5-star cabanas that turned out to be little PVC pipe igloos that were blown away in the wind. And all the mattresses got soaked in the rain. It became a whole severe tragedy. And like I said, went down in infamy. In IRL, there's a documentary, but in IRL, this was it. I mean,
look at all those idiots.
Oh, wait. I love him at the end. You guys gotta calm down. The whole festival shows up to no living conditions, no food, no water, none of the artists, nothing. You guys gotta calm down.
This should have been Mr. Beast Games. This is how it should have been.
And yet Beast Games delivered in perfect fashion, and Billy McFarland still thinks he can pull it off. So why is this the topic of the day? Because bro just doesn't go away. Now, I don't want to get into the FYRE Festival 2, which is the headline for today. Before I get into that, Will flirted with it. I do want to address it. We're trying to give you the full recap of, if you didn't know, now you know. Here is the FYRE Festival, which the fun part about it is, let me get there's one element of the whole documentary that went viral. It was memed 10 times over. It's everybody's most notorious piece. And this guy was the face of I'm just going to let him say it. I'm not going to say it. He's the face of this.
Tell you something. We had 4 containers filled, 4 18-wheeler trucks filled with Evian water. But I had left the week before for 2 days to go to meetings in Bermuda for the America's Cup. And when I came back, I'd missed the big meeting with Customs. And of course, Customs had said to Billy and the gang, you need to pay us $175,000 in cash today for us to release the water. I went down. Well, Billy called me. I'm going to speak completely, this won't go that far, I'm sure, but Billy called and said, Andy, we need you to take one big thing for the team. And I said, oh my gosh, I've been taking something for the team every day. He said, well, you're our wonderful gay leader, and we need you to go down. Will you suck dick to fix this water problem? And I said, Billy, what? He said, Andy, if you will go down and suck Cunningham's dick, who's the head of Customs, and get him to clear all of the containers with water, you will save this festival. And I literally drove home, took a shower, I drank some mouthwash. I'm like, oh my gosh, and I got into my car to drive across the island to take one for the team. And I got to his office fully prepared to suck his dick. But he couldn't have been nicer. And he's like, Andy, listen, I will release all the water. I will let you serve it. But I want to be one of the first people to be paid this import fee for what you're doing. And I said, okay, great. And I got back and I had all the water that we needed.
So let's be very clear. This right here, that face, this Tiger King moment in our social experience boiled down, this whole documentary boiled down to this moment. This guy was notorious, memed 1,000 times over.
See his meme
for this. How bad you want it? And he didn't go to jail. Billy McFarland did. He's a felon. Bro's a felon. This guy, look at that face. He's willing to get us to the finish line at all costs. So anyway, I don't want you to forget what FYRE Fest was. So upon its recap, now let's get into the headlines. Billy McFarland, the felon, finally out of jail. 2018. We're almost, this is.
It's been out that long.
7, 8 years. Yeah, it's been quite a while. And
I guess it has been.
Bro has come out. He's ready to redeem himself. And this is where, the American dream, if you can't do the crime, can't pay the time, don't do the crime. Guess what? Dude did pay the time. So I'm not gonna, hate him for it. You want to give people the opportunity for a redemption arc. This guy, though, boy, does he make you want to root against him. So he's back with FYRE Fest 2.
Why would he name it?
Good afternoon, everybody. I have an important FYRE update and news regarding the talent performing at FYRE 2. First, I am so grateful to be bringing together 1,800 people who not only have the courage to take a chance on me, but have the courage to prove the impossible possible and the courage to be a part of history. Before we get into the lineup news, I need to discuss what happened this week. On Thursday, we hosted a press conference at the Martina Beach Club, which is one of the official venues for FYRE 2. Our production, venue, and hospitality partners and the government were all there and all spoke on their plans for FYRE 2. This week, we will begin to release the lineup. We'll have DJs, rappers, reggae artists, pop stars, but also athletes, divers, models, pilots, and creators who will lead the experiences for our guests. FYRE is all about these intimate experiences. We'll have dozens of artists in a private party-like setting. FYRE is all about the people you'll meet, the memories you'll make, and the stories that you will be able to tell for the rest of your life. Guys, FYRE 2 can only happen once. Once it's sold out, that's it. There's no wait list.
FYRE 1 can only happen once.
And just like the battle I'm fighting every day, there are no more chances. If you and your friends want to ATV through the jungle with the Super Bowl champion, if you want to swim with the sharks with a pop star, or if you want to learn MMA on the beach with a UFC champion, DM me and I will personally help you and your friends get set up. Let's make history, everybody.
Bro, you heard it, Alex. Reach out. Let's get that Rethink Tank crew down there so that we can get that firsthand experience.
Here's Doug. There's Doug.
You know what? I loved two things I thought of when he started the video. When he started the video, and he's just like, all right, big news for FYREfest this week. What I have on the agenda this week, I thought he was going to be like, I had my last probation meeting. I thought he was going to say that. And then two, I'm just thinking of like, he's semi-recognizable. Like, the instant I saw him, I was like, yeah, that's the FYRE Festival guy. I was like, what if someone walked by and was just like, I just walked by the FYRE Fest guy talking about another FYRE Fest. It's happening.
Exactly.
It's all going to be there.
But again, you would think the guy wouldn't go out selling the FYRE Fest that's happening again unless it's actually happening again. So he's going on to today's show. People are like, is this for real? He's like, no, this is for real. Now he's doubling down. We are exclaiming to the world, FYREfest 2 is back. Really, it's Netflix will have a great, juicy documentary part 2 coming out soon. But
artists across electronic, hip hop, pop, and rock. However, it's not just music. We might have a professional skateboarder do a demonstration. You might have an MMA champion teach you techniques in the morning. And
you say we might have. Are any of these for sure haves? Are they booked?
So I think what makes FYRE so cool is that we are selling the experience of FYRE. I want to be one of the first festivals that with no artists.
But you do have.
Oh, dude, trust me.
This is a yes or no question. We are selling you the experience of FYRE. And she's just like, I saw the documentary, guy.
So there's not a single MMA guy on the beach yet.
Has anybody said yes now? We're selling you the FYRE experience.
Oh, dude, just wait. Talk about a guy that talks between the lines.
Dude, I just remember from did you watch the documentary? I'm assuming you did. Yeah. I'm just saying, but like, I just remember notoriously everybody who personally knew me were like, that dude lies so much. It's not even good lies, but like he's doing it. Like he's a professional at it. And I'm like, did any of them say yes? I'm selling you FYRE. Didn't even say festival. Like it's a word. Like you went and ate at FYRE. That's a legitimate establishment you could go and get food at. This guy, like,
dude, it's FYRE.
And we have 1,800 idiots. That's what he should have said after. I had 1,800 suckers all agree to do this.
Oh, dude. And
dude,
we're not even.
You mentioned we haven't gotten to it, but like a former athlete that we know of that we like on the show, we're big fan of.
Bigly.
You know, he signed up for this.
Antonio Brown.
I know he signed up for this praying he's in this documentary. Praying just so he could be like,
there's a video of him just straight up, I'm gonna be at FYREfest. And he's the first and only talent signed to FYREfest 2.
And you know he just wants to go there even if it's a catastrophe when all these other
he doesn't even want to get paid. He'll do it for free.
He doesn't need to get paid. He's like, I just want to show up so I can see the catastrophe in person. So then people will be like, yeah, Antonio Brown actually did show up, just for him to be like, yeah, I didn't get paid, didn't get sponsored. I just wanted to see it.
Yep.
Just wanted to experience it. Because like he's like Shaquille O'Neal now. Like he's just like doing side quests for life.
Side
like,
quests.
That's all he's doing. Like he doesn't need a job. These are all side quests. It's like him, Snoop Dogg.
Cracker of the week, CT, ESPN.
Him, Snoop Dogg, and Shaquille O'Neal. Just side quests.
Yep.
Like they don't have an actual job. Their jobs are just their side quests.
Just
some of them he doesn't want to get paid for. I just want to see it.
I agree.
Experience of FYRE. I want to be one of the first festivals that can sell out with no artists.
But you do have them booked.
We're announcing the artists over the next few months, so I'm not in charge of booking the talent.
Will these be A-list names that are involved?
I really hope so, and I expect so from our conversations.
Every question she asked too, it's not like a legitimate question. It's just like, hey, like, could you tell me about the process going through this? It's always like, so, like, do you have an island? Like, she's literally emphasizing the question while she's saying the question. Like, she's making sure the question mark is heard by her tone at the end of these questions. It's not like, hey, man, what are we doing next week for the show? Like, I don't know. What are we doing next week for the show? Like, I'm not asking, like, maybe there's a show next week. I know there's a show next week.
Right.
She's always asking these questions now. Like, is this a real thing? Billy, are you still on probation?
And he's like, I'm there.
Do you have the money? He's like, we're selling you on the experience of FYRE. It is beautiful to watch. It is beautiful to watch this unfold. Can we please add this to the weekly rotation of like, oh, we have an update on the FYRE Fest? Like, can we please do that? Because like all these questions that keep getting asked, so I'm just like, I need to know more and more. Because I'm like this woman right now. I'm like looking at him like, why are you wearing glasses? It doesn't make you look smarter.
Well, okay. First, I want to, it doesn't just stop there. The shit just continues to unravel. Talk about, dude, again, you're like, give the guy a chance. Like, at first, it was like, he wants to do it again. He wants to redeem himself. I give it to him. Then he's like, I'm selling you a concert. Lollapalooza is Lollapalooza. It's there every year in the center of Chicago, up there with one of the biggest festivals known to man annually. Unless there's people I'm dying to go to, I did it once, I don't need to go again. I went the one time, I loved all the people that were there. Unless there's a ticket of people totally compelling, I'm really not itching to go. And they really haven't been that compelling. But guess what's compelling me to go to Lollapalooza? It's the ticket.
Yeah.
And so if you're selling me the ticket and you're like, listen, last time we got you to an island and nothing was there. It wasn't the beds. It wasn't the food. It wasn't the fun. I didn't have shit. And I'm hoping you'll come back to that. And I don't even have Lizzo to tempt you. Like you're not even using talent to bring me there. And you're like, we're going to have MMA guys to teach you MMA. We're going to have painters to teach you painting. We're going to have Antonio Brown to show you how to catch a football. Are you going to have quarterbacks? No. None of them were interested.
You know, Antonio Brown would be like, I'm not throwing.
I think he'd be like, no, I'm going to throw. Actually, I could see Antonio Brown showing up and he's be like, I'm going to be the lineman. And they're like, dude, seriously? No, I'm going to be the snapper. Someone else is going to
be
throw.
Like that scene in Atlanta where it's like Michael Vick's just outside the club doing 40-yard dashes against people. that's it.
So you're like, all right, at first wanted to give the guy a chance. Now it's like, oh, dude, you're a grifter. You're a bad guy. Doesn't just stop there. This is, do you want to make sure he's a bad guy? Did you have a little bit of doubt? Well, then it starts coming out. The people in the venue that were like, hey, he's saying this is where it's at. The venue's like, no, he ain't. We've never even heard of this. Doesn't even exist. Oh, shit. The place where FYRE Festival 2 is saying this doesn't exist and it isn't real. Oh, no. Now our big boy Billy, he's got even more he's got to fix. More damage control needs to hit the folks. He went first. He just totally soiled the pooch when he goes on the Today Show and says, we We might have UFC on the beach. We might have big bad concerts. And they're like, might? He's like, yeah, we got nothing. Okay, that's your first bad concession publicly. Now you got to do damage control. The venue's like, there is no venue. The thing doesn't exist. So why not have a Dave Portnoy emergency press conference to save the thing? Throw that phone in your hand and give us what you got.
Good evening, everybody. I have a really important FYRE update. Last week, I did an interview in the Today Show, and since then, the story has been shared, retold, twisted, and covered by journalists from all over the world.
It's been twisted. He's
I
a
figured
victim.
it would be best to hear directly from me what's
Directly.
actually happening. First, FYRE 2 is real. Second, we have incredible partners leading the festival. They're in charge of all the logistics, productions, and operations. This includes an incredible production team in Mexico who does not F around. There is no way they would ever take on a fake festival. 3, we have accommodations. Naturally, this was a huge point of emphasis given the issues surrounding FYRE 1. Our accommodations include contracts for the number of villas, yachts, and hotels. This also includes 2 hotels who were contacted by the media.
Mind you, tickets currently being sold range from $1,400 all the way to $1.1 million.
I hope people
All
are
right,
buying
no,
them.
wait, just keep going.
I hope they're buying.
Gave misleading statements saying they never heard of FYRE and they aren't working with us. After hearing this, I asked my team to terminate those contracts and to focus on the hotels and other partners who are eager to work with and support FYRE. 4, we have talent. Artists, athletes, and other performers.
So what he's saying in that last part, what he said was, it isn't that venue didn't know that we weren't coming and we don't exist. It's I called my people and told them, because these people are being funny, cancel the contracts. We're going to a place that really cares about us. Bro, they said you didn't exist. Like, there's no you're not canceling a contract on them when they go, we have nothing with them.
This guy's going back to jail.
Oh, dude, just wait. He's talking about the talent. It's big here.
Performers are on board and scheduled for FYRE 2. 5,
It's like talk about the talent. First names. We got Dave Bluntz. We got Damas.
We know that because he can't leave. He's stuck there.
He's already there. He can't leave.
Took a lot of work to get him there, but now he's beached and he isn't coming. And he ain't leaving.
He just washed ashore. He's not going nowhere.
All right. 0.5 is his fifth contention here is the most important.
Okay.
board and scheduled for FYRE 2. 5, restitution is being paid.
Oh, God.
Since being released 30 months ago, I've made 40 payments to restitution. I've also made it my mission to do more than legally required. Part of this has been giving a large percentage of FYRE 2's budget and profits directly to restitution. 6, my partners and I have remained in communication with local and state government to ensure full compliance and a successful event that benefits the local economy, shares the beauty of the Mexican Caribbean with the world, and helps make right for all of the wrongs. 7, FYRE 2 is moving forward, and we are moving forward with full integrity. From now on, updates will come directly from me. I look forward to continuing to work with my great partners to bring the vision of FYRE to life and to help make right for all of the wrongs. If anybody wants to join us and help us make history and help show the truth of the vision and the intentions, please DM me. I'm here day and night. Thank you very much, and I look forward to sharing this with the world.
And what brings more transparency and integrity back to the FYRE brand than carte blanche admitting that we're doing I'm being pigeonholed into creating FYRE 2 to pay for the restitution of FYRE 1. But I promise it's going to pay for the talent for your experience.
I absolutely I kind of love this man because I love him because he said, he's like, everything you're going to hear, every announcement you're going to hear about Fire 2 is going to come from me. It's like, dude, that's all we heard about Fire 1. Actually, you have less credibility this time because last time you had Ja Rule.
Yeah.
You had him saying, oh, it's happening too. Now it's just you. I think you're crazy. I think you're just walking around the city. They're like, there's Billy again.
There's Billy. All right. Doug, what do you got for us? Because
Doug, are you going?
I would like to, yes. Why not?
Yeah, you should.
Because like Alex said, then at least you're in a documentary, you know? Maybe
Like I
they'll
said.
pay you for your experiences.
Doug, I would love for you to be in that documentary. After the one day of being there, face red as can be because there were no
He's just cooked.
No sunscreen.
Because you're like, oh, they said they'd have sunscreen there. Just Doug Cook, like, where's Billy?
Yeah, I got some beef with Billy.
I'd also would feel much better about these updates if they weren't just like felt so random. Like, I'm walking down the street and let's do an update.
He's like, they were saying we didn't have a venue. Truth is, I don't want to work with them anymore. Oh, is that how that works, big dog? You
don't say no to me. No. I say no to you.
Yeah, we weren't even gonna be there. Now we're in the Bahamas.
Oh, sorry. You thought I was going to do this in Jamaica? We're doing this on the moon, dude.
So,
I don't think you heard.
You know, it's funny. This is a story that was very relevant and has completely dissolved from the public eye, has become completely irrelevant. Then the guy comes out of jail back. So now we're getting a little life update. All right. Where's Billy McFarland been? Not growing and evolving in a jail cell. He's back and he's the same cat. But I love that you flirted with the point. You raised it and we kind of departed from it. This wasn't just the Billy McFarland debacle. Ja Rule had a front row seat to this whole thing, and his PR team perfectly escaped culpability and any type of wreckage that came from the fire scenario, even though he was the one full-fledged selling it to everybody.
Dude, he was on the
making it
Today
credible.
Show with him at one point.
Oh, yeah. You got to see the documentary. Totally worth it. Great watch.
Oh, it's insane.
But with it being a modern update, we're getting to this place. Where's Billy been? He's been in jail and he's back and didn't change. But now, where's Ja Rule been? He's been in Greek commercials.
You want to slap your mama?
Hold on, we're going to have to start this over. StreamYard needs to fix this.
It make you want to slap your mama. Pop Christo's got the best gyros, you ever ate in your life. So good. Make one think to you got to have Peters, Pop Cristo Peters. They got everything. I'm gonna just give you a rundown of some of my favorites. They got tzatziki. Hold on. Whatever, but it's good. Avalemano soup, cava pizza, and they got wine too. I'm telling you, come on down to Papa Cristo's. You can't even pronounce the food. It's so goddamn good. Show them what you're working with, Papa. Show them how you do it.
Hey, Papa. Hey, where are you? Papa Cristo, are you here? Papa Cristo, are you here?
Come on down to Papa Cristo's, 2771 West Boulevard, Pico. Or you can call right now and get it delivered. Papa Cristo's. Ooh, make you want to do the dance.
Bro, when I say
I think Billy needs to call Ja Rule. I think he's got a job opportunity.
I want
him.
Papa Cristo's, and that's a marketing genius, Billy. You need to hit up Ja Rule, but Ja Rule knows better. I just love, how's Ja Rule been? Is he selling concerts? No. Papa Cristo's, though. Bro knows what's up. I want to know, how much do you think a local Greek shop is paying for a Ja Rule commercial?
More than he
25 grand?
More than he got paid for Fire Festival.
Anything's bigger than nothing.
It's like more than that.
I wonder if we could afford him for a commercial.
No.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. Like,
no,
dude,
I want to afford Antonio Brown.
A Greek restaurant owner in like New York has like stupid play money where like the other Greek DPs in his neighborhood put a giant stone statue and he's like, I'm going to buy Ja Rule for one day. I'm buying Ja Rule. He seems fun guy. I saw you see the Netflix. The Netflix, it's good. Netflix is good. It's good. And I saw the Jaru. He bring energy.
You like that song? What's Love? I love that song.
No. It's a tzatziki. It's a tzatziki.
Oh God. These poor people.
Yeah, dude. So
I
again,
used to respect Ja Rule.
well, bringing it back to FYRE 2, tickets ranging $1,400. What? That's the minimum cabana, and you don't get to fight UFC with Conor McGregor.
And in reality, you just get a spot on the beach.
That's what I'm saying. You're getting the lowest rung. It goes as high as 1.1 million. That's Conor McGregor's lap. You could fight him in the beach, or you could sit in his lap.
Conor McGregor's going to take a break from his Irish presidency to go FYRE Festival too.
So I love that the ticket range is so high for artists that go totally unnamed. They're coming over the course of the next few months. We'll be announcing them. Who are they? We won't tell you. But you'll buy the ticket. And I'm also going to tell you to your face, it's for the restitution of my last crime, FYRE 1. Dude, that's nuts.
And at this rate, he's going to be having to prepare FYRE 3 to pay off FYRE 2. So that's the point we're at.
Yeah. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me three.
Fool me FYRE 3 is paying for FYRE 2 for fooling me for FYRE. He's just going to have to perpetually do FYRE Fest to pay for the last one.
This is the modern day Fast and Furious in reality.
FYRE 11. Suckers still exist.
FYRE 5 is going to be like Fire Flame.
Well, okay. My wrapping piece is who's going to this? The only people that are going to this are people fishing for content or degenerates that are looking for a lawsuit. They're like, I'm going to show up. I live under a bridge. I'm going to show up to nothing and sue this dude for $50,000.
I mean,
there's Doug.
Doug's like,
how do we get this thing? Dude, he already has one. Show's not even over.
I've been on my phone.
So, well, give us your wrapping thoughts.
More power to you, Billy. Who am I to get in front of a man's dream? Man's dream to be to. I don't even know what his dream is anymore. I don't think he knows.
He doesn't.
I think his dream is to pay all these restitutions.
I just want to be a free man again.
All updates are going to come through me. They've only come through you, brother. Like no one else is speaking on this. Not even
Ja Rule's talking about Euros.
Not even the venue spoke on your behalf. They were like, nah, nah, dude. I don't get it. Like, just be a club promoter. Like, just be a club. Like
that exists.
Like, with
you
this
could go to a club
money,
that exists,
dude. Let's introduce you to the guy who owns Town Hall in Cleveland. Like, that's like you sound just like him.
You guys would share a lot of similar pastimes.
You both would definitely have
crimes.
You both definitely have a probation officer.
Yeah. You know Cheryl. So
I mean, you know what? Let him do it.
Yeah.
Like it's a free world. If people are gonna go to this after the first one, they deserve to be there.
Cruises exist. People still
People
go to
thought
them.
Storming Area 51 was a good idea. So go to FYRE 2.
Yeah, I agree. Doug, wrapping thoughts.
Well, I would definitely still go. Why not? But I think it's crazy someone's going to pay. What was the high one? You said like 1.4 million. Who the hell is going to pay that when you don't know really where it's going to be. You don't know who's going to be there.
Dude, they only sold one golden 1.1 million ticket, and it was to Chet Hanks. He was like, Rastaman, I'm gonna be there. I'm the number one ticket. It's a golden chariot that they have to like walk him in on. He's like, Daddy had nothing to do with this one, man. Oh yeah, it was for Chet Hanks.
That was that Saving Private Ryan money, wasn't it? That's what got him that.
That one was from the pizza.
That pisses me off.
That one was the pizza money. Anywho. We appreciate everybody that joined us for the live show. We had a lot of fun comments that added to the dynamic. The whole purpose of the live show is to get you involved. So we appreciate everybody that joined us. We do the live show every Tuesday at 7 p.m. here on this show, but we also have the reactions channel. We had a great episode this last week where we took a little peek through a time machine and got to colorize old footage, and it was a great spectacle. So take a little break with us and open up your Sunday. Join us for the reactions channel. But again, we've got all these different channels across different shows across different channels, and you can find them in one central place, and that's at our website at www.rethinktankpodcast.com. So if we made you laugh, if we made you think, please like this episode. But if you liked it, that means someone else you know will too. So be sure to share that link, because that's the best thing you can do to support us. But otherwise, guys, we'll catch you on the next one. Peace.